Now I'm ready. Okay, so on your packet, let me glance at it, just kind of flip and let me see that you did it. Okay. All right. Very thought-provoking about how to apply these things. Okay. So we're going to go over the packet real quickly. And is it all on one page?
Yeah.
All right. So
Sorry.
we don't. Julia, I have an extra. Do you want one to look at or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I didn't realize that I gave them my everything.
Okay, I think we did all of number one. Notice what I did on number one. I'll leave on this picture big since we've already done this one. But on number one, when we got to the rock shelf part, I went like this. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't. 2 plus, it was more like this. Anyway, it was safe to go on the rock shelf. So did y'all see how in Y1 I put this, and in Y2 I put this, and we actually used our technology to find out these points and times of day that it would be a low enough tide to actually go on the rock shelf. That happened to me actually last Memorial Day. On Memorial Day, we just went to Connecticut. We were on a Connecticut beach near Yale, and there was this, on the beach, you could see this like kind of island out there, and the tide was so low you could walk out to the island. But they had state park agents that came through, and at a certain time of day, they said, you can't walk out to the island. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I could. But they realized the tide's about to come in and you couldn't get back. So they know the time of day that's safe to go to the Rock Island and not go to the Rock Island or whatever it was called. Okay, so let's go to the second one.
How do they determine?
Huh?
How do they determine?
With this.
the low?
Yeah, they know
Like
mathematically when low tide and high tide is going to happen. Also, really, that's probably a lot by experience too, because they live there, so they know the times
Yeah,
of
they
day.
show like I do like the surfing forecast and
And
they do
the
like
commas when I
red
drive down
and
the side of the
blue.
pool, like into the
They're
ocean.
doing what we're doing
Yeah,
right
it was
now.
open pool, and it was like shallow.
Okay,
And I told her to jam my ankle, no one believed me, and I was like, alright.
Okay, so listen up.
I thought
You
this
were
was-
there on your belief that you jammed your ankle.
Yeah, right.
You don't notice changes.
This hurts.
Sure. I'll find one of us.
Oh my god, there's the date.
All of the
2006.
pretty
Oh, what a year.
14 years.
Okay.
So cute.
So in Central Park,
Yes.
the data looked like this.
That's like my first
Okay, and this is the midline. Was not 0 degrees. I'm sorry. The midline, girls, listen. The midline, did y'all see? I'm sorry. Let me start over. Okay. The first thing was a table of values, and then we used that to talk about the graph. In February, the first, it's really not the first month, it's really the second month of the year. In January, it was about, this is 40, this is not 0. In January, it was like high 30s. In February, the average daily temperature was a little lower. In March, it went up above 40 degrees for an average temperature. In May, it shot on up to, in April, February, March, April. In April, it went up to in the 50s. And then in May, it went up into the 60s. And then in June and July, it went higher and higher. And then in the fall, it starts to come back down until we end at December, or really January. This is December, and then this is starting back over again where we picked up right here. And so we have a graph like this on your packet. All right? Now, I'm gonna actually put that data into a calculator and show you what I'm talking about. And this is very, 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 very much talking about what will become your project grade, okay? it takes a while for it to come up, so let me talk while that's happening. On the number 1, make a table of values. Number 2, or I'll tell you what, I may just, well, I'll do it on the calculator because now it's here. Some of y'all, is anybody in AP? Oh no, you're junior, so you wouldn't be in AP Stat yet. So you probably haven't ever hit the Stat key, but you may have with your algebra teacher ever hit the Stat key. You do not. You probably will want to do this actually on your calculator, but in a minute I'll walk you through the project. So let me show you. So I'm going to go to Stat, which is right there, and above it is List. So I'm going to go to Second Stat. And I want to do list 1. Oh, I'm sorry. Stat edit. Okay, now I'm going to fill in list 1. My months are really 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Because when I get to 12, I'm starting the year over again, from December to December. So do you see what 0 means? So 0, because January is the first month, right? So what's the temperature? So now I'm going to go over to list 2. Okay, and make sure that it's paired up. By the way, when you do this a lot, which you learn in my class, if you did a lot of statistics, you learn all these methods there's a button I can push that just fills in whatever numbers I want. In case you go, well, what about 200 data points, which you want in here, you'll have 12 or 13. But there's cool buttons you can push to make it fill in stuff for you, like an Excel spreadsheet. All right, now in list 2, let's estimate, give me some numbers. What'd you get for 0, which would have been December?
49.
What'd you get?
49.
For December?
You should have gotten something like 38 or 37.
January.
Yeah, I'm sorry, thank you so much. I mean January, thanks Julia.
Oh, 38, yeah.
38. Okay. All right, what'd you get for, oh, so that was January. I got it, I'm gonna change this. All right, so I'm going to clear this. Did it clear? Oh, I'm not on it. Oh, that should clear.
Can you leave the data point that's after December 1st on the end?
I don't need this right here, so I'm trying to get rid of it. I didn't realize they started it in January, even though I've done this 1,000 times. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't need 0. The first month of the year is January, and this is our first data point. So 38. All right, what was it in February, the second month of the year?
36.
36. All right, the third month of the year?
42.
42. What do you have next?
53.
Okay. Next?
65.
Okay, and just say if you don't agree with somebody, if yours is roughly the same, let's keep moving. Number 6 month,
76.
are y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. 7th month,
84.
okay. 8th month,
88.
87.
88, 87, okay. 9th month,
84.
all right. 10th month,
73.
all right, so 73, 72, 11th,
59.
59, 61,
Oh,
so,
61, sorry, 69. Yeah. I was 61.
all right, so 61, okay. And the 12th month,
49.
49. Which is why you were answering me 49 a second ago, Ben, so you were
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I got
Okay.
59 for that one.
Okay, look at it again.
Wait.
12th month. Do you see that would be between 40 and 50, so I'd say 49.
But that's December. This is not. That's December. Oh, you're right. Isn't December the second to last?
Yeah, it looks like to me 49.
No,
Yeah,
no, wait,
it's
49.
Yeah,
Wait,
49.
since
Right here.
when?
That's
not
December.
40. Oh yeah, it is.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So now, you don't have, well, you may want to know how to do this, so I'll walk you through it again if you decide you want to. We'll just see when we look at the project together. All right, there's a thing you can go to make it actually plot your points called Second Stat Plot. You want to plot your points. And you see all of my plots are off. which by the way, if you choose to do it on your calculator, so you can actually see if you got it right before you turn it into me, you always usually want your plots off because they'll interfere with what you're trying to do. So I'm gonna turn the plot on, and so I'm gonna go over here. Sorry, I guess I have to hit enter so I can change it. So I'm gonna turn my plot on, and I think I want to do a line graph like this. And I can't imagine anybody yet would be using other lists than list 1 and 2. You're probably using list 1 and 2, okay? So now when I hit graph, my data point should show up. All right, now that is not my data point. That was probably real impressive. But that was what I had in Y1 and Y2 from the type. So now, y'all, everybody look, so you'll know in the future how to fix your calculator. You could get an error message once your plots are turned on because it thinks you're trying to do something you're not trying to do at the moment. Right now I want to look at, did y'all see I wasn't in table?
Yeah.
In table, you fill in an X and a Y just appears because you've got an equation. Right now I'm trying to get an equation. I put in points into stat. I want to see my points, okay? So when I hit graph with the, with the plot on, I should see my points, but I don't. That's because we're doing weather right now. And so I do want to go out 12 months, but no wonder, I've got a lot more than 3 degrees going on, right? So I might go up to 100 degrees. Sorry. Let's go from 0
I feel like 90 would be good because
to 90. Okay, we'll do 90. Yeah. Now we see it. Okay, we see our dots and we see it. All right. Now what we had gotten to beforehand, not sure why I'm not seeing more. Oh, did I start at 1? Hang on just a minute. Something. I want to do this right. Let me pull the calculator back up.
I think it's just because it starts at the graph on the calculator starts at 0.
Yeah. So I'm going to make my window 1. I mean, yeah, because our first data point was 1. Okay. So I need to look at it again. So I went to window and I changed X-Men to 1 because now it should match what's on my paper. Okay, and does it look like what's on your paper?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna write an equation, which is your job. You're gonna write an equation to model that. Because what happens in the real world is somebody doesn't, as an engineer, get to their job and somebody says, here, graph 7 plus 3 sine X minus pi. Okay? They're all of a sudden sitting there looking at a wave, and they've got to write the equation to model that wave. I've even seen it as in a career project with a speaker that came in. I've even seen an anesthesiologist go through, or an oncologist talk about how MRIs work, and anesthesiologists talk about how the machine works. When they put that little thing on your finger, if you've been put to sleep before, they put a little thing on your finger that is pulsing, a red light. And what it's doing is it's checking something about the oxygen level in your blood stream.
Oh, I thought that was the heartbeat.
I think it's the oxygen level, but I could be wrong.
No, I could be.
I mean, 'cause I hadn't heard it in a long time, but even if it is Dakota, either one of those are cyclical.
Yeah.
Okay? It probably is maybe heartbeat, because
Yeah,
that
it's
would be more
probably
cyclical than
heartbeat.
oxygen level. I
Just
hope
use flip
oxygen,
it on and like.
it's probably your
Your
heartbeat
pulse.
maybe tells them something about oxygen
yeah.
level. Talking about something.
Oh,
about
how
oxygen
slow your pulse is. Tell us that.
your sleep.
I have a really
state.
fast pulse, actually.
Okay, girls, let's keep moving, okay? So,
No, yeah, the thing on the finger is the heartbeat.
all right, so the other day, when we were doing this, Kate thought a negative cosine graph would be a really good thing to do, and I agree with her. Do y'all see why I would choose that one if I was the engineer seeing this picture? I'd go, well, maybe I can just get it with a negative cosine graph. All right, so I'm gonna put in negative cosine x.
Wait, Kate said that?
Yeah, I think it was her. Was it you?
No.
Sorry, okay.
I was just thinking that's smart.
Well, I don't even see it. I see a little blurb down here because it's all happening at 0, 0 right now, and I have temperature that I need to get up somewhere, all right? So what I had started with y'all the other day was some of the math. Like, I need to actually write the equation. So right now I have, what, was it you, Kate, that suggested a negative cosine graph the other day? When we saw this weather one?
Yeah.
I thought so, okay. All right, so I want to get my midline because I want to pull my graph up to where I can see it, all right? So the low, what was your lowest point in your data? 36, 35, 30 what?
35.
Okay, I'll use the people that have 36. If you have 35, everything's fine. What was the highest? 87-ish? 88?
87, yeah.
We'll say 87.
87.
So do y'all see why I'm averaging? Because I fully understand the application of what I've been doing. The midline is going to be the average annual temperature of the city for the whole year. And so that adds up to 13, sorry. I got a nicer number the other day. I got an even number, 13. 123 divided by 2. I think I had 122 divided by 2 the other day. But it doesn't matter. I think I get 61.5. So watch what happens when I just put in my vertical translation of 61.5. Y'all are gonna have to do this, so watch carefully. All right, so when I go to my y equals, and with my cosine, if I actually put in 61.5 minus cosine x, things start to look a little bit better, okay? I definitely need a bigger amplitude than up 1 and down 1. Do y'all remember how, and by the way, you've got to show your work. So to find your midline or the average annual temperature, say that was the A question on your project, you would show me this work, okay? You would show me you average your high and your low, and that you got your midline, 61.5 or whatever. Yours will be something different from mine, okay? Now, say the B part is how did you find the amplitude? So one way to find the amplitude is take the highest point, 87, minus the midline. Does that make sense? Or you could take the midline minus the lowest point, because you're trying to find out, right now 61.5 is running through like this, and I need to get my amplitude correct. So do y'all see that should be the same number? That's because your amplitude, you always went up 3, down 3, or whatever. What is that number?
15.5.
It should be bigger than that. Is that
20,
right?
20, then it's, yeah, 25.5, sorry.
All right, so 61.5 and 25.5. Yes, you're right. All right, so 25.5 is my amplitude. So 25.5, this should also be 25.5. So you say your high point minus your midline, or your midline minus your low point, or do them both to convince yourself you get the same number. Does that make sense? I want it to make sense to you so you can talk through it, okay? And this is really, all of a sudden you're really doing engineering, okay? Because you're looking, what engineers do is they're looking at data, writing an equation. Somebody just doesn't come in and go, here, graph these equations today. They're like, we got this data, and it is kind of funny to think about, like what actually happens and what's happening in research all over the place. So now into my y equals, I'm gonna insert a 25.5. Now, if you don't want to delete all of that in the back, you can hit second delete and insert 25.5. How are we doing? A lot better. I like the stretch of the graph, don't you? Now what's wrong with it? It's coming too fast. I've got to change the period, okay? And so at some point I'll ask you to verify how you found the periods. You have to show all your work. So here's what's super cool about the project and why I make you do it. You're not going to guess and check until you get it right. Now you might, but you won't get many points. Because if I hire 2 people to work for me and I need them to model waves that are coming in for some reason, whether I want to build a machine to do MRIs, or I want to look at radar or sonar or understand sound, how this works, whatever it is.
You want to hear the
And I come stand over your desk as my employee, and I see you're sitting there guessing and checking. Meanwhile, the other person I hired at the same time is already at my desk in a minute with the answer. And I'm like, where's your answer? Because you're doing 2 different things maybe. And you're like, oh, hold on a minute. Okay, do y'all understand if you know the math is the most direct route to the answer? Instead of guess and check. If you're gonna be, you're not gonna be employed long in a situation like that if you're guessing and checking. Unless you have a whole lot of gut instinct about what's going on, and then I would argue you're technically doing the math. Do y'all see what I mean? Okay, so that's why I make you show your work. Alright, so, don't we say 2 pi over b to find the period? You might remember we did this, I think Nazareth got it the other day, okay? 2 pi over b, we've always found the period. But now I know the period, I just don't know what to put there to make it happen in front of x. And you want the period to last for 12 months,
So you
right?
said 12 over 1.
So I set it equal to 12, and then we cross multiplied, and we got b was pi over 6. By the way, a nice hint for your project. Every time b is pi over 6, you'll get a period of 12. If you try that, 2 pi over 6. So now I'm gonna go into the calculator. Oh, I didn't realize it was right there. And now I'm gonna insert pi over 6. We're gonna be so happy, but not completely happy, happier. Second insert, and I need to put it in parentheses, pi over 6. Wow, we're doing really good. This is what I couldn't get to the other day, which is why I didn't go in and assign the project, okay? I wouldn't give you full credit for that. I'd look through your parts that you found, everything, but I need a what also?
Phase shift.
I need a, thanks, great Brandon, I need a phase shift, okay? I'm gonna shift the graph I've written over to the right. So just see, I'm thinking most of y'all probably will wanna know how to do the stat edit stuff, okay? So I'm gonna shift it over, and I'm thinking about how far. I think I really just wanna go over a month, okay? Because what's happening right now is it looks like it's starting, okay, here's what I'm basing it on, like this. I'm gonna point out with my cursor. Do y'all see this high point right here? Might want to go over 2 months. Do y'all see that high point right there?
Yeah.
I'm surprised I want to shift it over 2 months, but I think I might do that. Okay. Let's talk about how we get phase shift. Let's say this is the D part. I can't remember what order I put it in your sheet.
You have to count and then.
Not yet.
No, don't you
The
just
count's
set the
gonna be
parentheses-
3.
You just set the parentheses equal to 0.
Very good. Okay, so why am I not able to extend my page? I don't think I ever am here. All right, so let's move on. Cute little Anya over somewhere. I don't want her to disappear. Okay, so right, Dakota, I'm gonna say, I think it says bx minus c on your paper. You get your phase shift. Right now, I have pi over 6x minus some number. And this is what you don't want to do, that most people miss it the first time they do it. I do not set that equal to 2. I want to move it over 2, but I don't set that equal to 2. Okay? You all good. You already set your phase shift equal to 0. So now let's solve. We already know our period. So I'm going to say pi over 6x is equal to c. Isn't that what y'all always do? And girls, instead of dividing by pi over 6, can I multiply by 6 over pi?
Sure, yes.
Okay, 6 over pi,
Oh, yeah.
6 over pi. Okay? Now, this is your phase shift. How many times have I done that? I set it equal to 0. You do not set it equal to 2. Alina said you set it equal to 0. And you get your phase shift, but you want to force that to be what? 2. So if I force that to be 2, I want 6 over pi c to equal 2. I'm in the hunt to know what to put right here. Do you see what I'm looking for? So c is 2 times pi over 6. And so I get pi over 3. So I'm going to come in here and subtract pi over 3. Why am I subtracting this? Because I want it to move to the right. I really don't know how this is going to work. I'm hoping it works out well. So I'm going to go minus pi over 3.
Oh, I didn't think the parentheses came
Okay, I would probably give you 100 for that on your project. Because you see, we're modeling real life situations. Math is perfect, real life is not. Okay, so say that your goal and on track is to run a 6-minute mile. If you run a 6:01, I'd probably go in and put you on like the 4x4 relay or something. You see what I mean? Like if that's what I'm clocking you. I'm not gonna, what, am I gonna make you run exactly a 6-minute mile? Like we're not gonna leave the track today until you run a 6-minute mile, by golly, all right?
Like
So
even if you got like.
you're gonna run a 6-minute mile in 20 seconds. I'm gonna go, no, click. You're gonna run a 5-minute mile in 52 seconds. Nope, click. I mean, we're gonna be really mad at each other. Do y'all see what I mean about math is exact? Okay. So it's your first window into something you'll learn called limits in calculus. So the deal I make with people is if I can write it better than what you wrote, then I may deduct a couple of points, okay? But this one, I don't think you could do any better than that. Do you see how it catches these graphs over here?
Yeah.
If I shift it a little bit more, then I'll catch those, but when I miss some of these,
Yeah.
okay?
So you just
And
wanna-
because I think we all know something, I think Dakota said the other day, that the spring to me, coming right after the winter, a lot of times feels a little colder than the fall when it's starting to cool off. So it's not quite symmetric, all right?
So is that why it's never really gonna be perfect?
I've seen a few that I really can't tell the difference, which funny a lot of times is that's because a student might know how to make, there's a way to make your equation thicker. You can come over here and
Oh, yeah.
you can go down here. I think if I hit enter, I can make it, anyway.
You probably just
I mean, a
press
lot of
arrows.
times what I'll do is readjust your window.
Yeah.
Some people will zoom out and it will say it fits better. I'll go, no, let's go back from 0 to 12 and, I'll look at it like this, okay? So that was New York City, Central Park. All right, so here's your mission. I guess there's a Starbucks project. Whether Starbucks Groupon, I got one the other day. It was awesome. I got one for $10 and I only had to pay $5. Modeling weather. Okay. So I will post this in your assignment page. I'm sweating. I'm so hot. Did you already see it?
It's on.
Let's see. Okay. So choose a city to write an equation to model the temperature using this website. I think the odds of all the cities in the United States of America, that the odds are very slim you'll pick the same city, okay? Even if you happen to, your answer should be different just because of the 36, 35, 87, 88. If I get two of the same city, if two of you do St. Louis, Missouri, and your answers are exactly the same, you both are probably not going to get any credit, or at least you're going to have to face me and explain yourself, okay? Now, I don't mind you talking about it, but if you sit down to talk about it and you happen to have both picked the same city, one of you switch, and then you could go, how do you get your vertical translation? Now I'm going to get mine kind of thing. That's okay. I think that's good, okay? Because I won't help you since it's going to be a grade. But you better be doing different cities, okay? So,
You just say it now.
somebody pick a state.
It's Hawaii.
No, I wanna know.
I just-
Alright, listen.
have to choose a city in Hawaii. You can still
Oh,
yeah,
pick
Hawaii's a
Hawaii,
state.
so you can do
Right.
Hawaii
Right.
city.
So like,
Okay, girls,
Yeah.
listen,
I'll do
listen.
Los
Shh,
Angeles.
please don't pick now. I don't want y'all to pick now because then we'll waste time. But she's gonna do Los Angeles. Okay. If you pick a city like in Hawaii, there's not gonna be much of an amplitude, and that's okay with me, but it's not gonna vary much from the average annual temperature. Okay, now I'm gonna pick Iowa. I know nothing about Iowa, and I'm gonna pick Emmitsburg, Iowa. And what I want you to do, and I say it on the sheet, is do the mean. Don't do the average high or the average low. Do the mean annual temperature. So do y'all see I say insert table here, use the mean values?
Yeah.
All right, so what you'll do, you just follow the instructions. And so I can paste this a little better into I just screenshotted it not very well. But you'll have this document open, and nicer than I just did, you'll insert your table here. Or I don't think copy and paste would work. I don't think the formatting works.
are we
but-
turning
The
it in
table
all
had
that?
already
Let me keep talking, and I will tell you. You'll see. All right, so you'll put your table in here, or you can make your own table if you wanted to. All right, you'll show how you found your vertical shift. You could actually print it off and write it in and hand it to me, or you could leave it on here and type into the Word doc, maybe a couple of questions you had. All right, now what's the lowest temp we see here?
15.
Whoa, this varies a lot. This is very interesting.
The lowest.
All right, so I'm going to say 15 plus, what's the highest? 74 divided by 2. And then you'll figure out what that is. I think that's 44. What's 86 divided 43? Isn't that 80? Oh, it's 89. I can't add. 89 divided by 2. What's 84 divided by 2?
44.5.
Yeah, it is 44.5.
44.5. All right, and then as you're doing this, you'll have your calculator open, starting to type in and watch your graph morph into what you want, okay? Remember, you have all of that I did on the video today. So you can fast forward, pause, and model what I'm doing with your own city. Do not pick New York City, all right? You won't get any points for that. All right, so anyway, then you will actually show your work for the amplitude, like 44.5 minus 15, the low. And whatever that is, you'll write your amplitude, the period. You'll say 2. To get the pi button, you can go option P. Okay? 2 pi over B equals 12. All of you should get pi over 6, okay? And your phase shift, what you'll do is you'll say, you'll already know your pi over 6, let's admit that. And so your phase shift in front would already be pi over 6 option P, pi over 6 x minus c. Are you going to set it equal to 0?
Yes.
Okay? And then you'll show your work. You'll all get 6 over pi over 6. Okay? And you'll all get 6, the same thing I got in the video. And you set it equal to however far you think you need to move yours over. And then you'll type all that in and you'll be done. All right, you'll paste a screenshot of your showing your data points, your graph, and your equation from your work on Desmos here, or your calculator, okay? However, your calculator's not online like mine, so you probably would rather do Desmos. So I've got a little time to show you that. So let me show you how to do Desmos, and remember you can see this on the video. I have had people that understood how to do it on their calculator and took pictures of it and inserted that into their project if you don't want to use Desmos. Let me keep talking. Please don't forget your question. All right, you can hit the settings button. No, you can't. You can hit the plus button and put a table in. This is on video now. You can hit the plus and put in a table. And then you can start typing in like 143. Now let's change our window so we can see our temperature. Let's go from 1 to 12, so it's very similar, so don't panic. My Y's, I'll go from like 0 to whatever city I'm working, like 100. It was a dog, someone said. Okay. Anyway. Oh, darn. What I'm trying to show you is it'll show you the point, but you don't want that window. Okay. So you'll have it about like this. By the way, girls, you definitely want to be in radians for this. So on here, there was a mode. Do you see how I'm in radians?
Yes.
Okay. You can keep just typing in your points, and it'll do it for you. Do y'all see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then in this, you can start writing your equation. Okay? Now, obviously, that one is not the one you want to turn in, okay? But you see how you can screenshot everything for me and insert it into your project once you're finished.
Yeah.
So I'll see your data for your city. I'll see everything. So you follow the directions on the sheet, okay? Okay. All right, so we'll finish up now. I will, so what you do there may be a couple other things to do for Tuesday in light of the test on Thursday. So make sure you check assignments. The good news is the project should take you about 7 minutes, okay? Especially if you follow this. So don't let it overwhelm you, especially in, I'll probably give you some other homework.
When are the projects due next class?
Next class,
Is it equal to like a
Thank
quiz
you.
grade or?
it'll be a quiz grade.
Guys, I'm gonna do Westport, Connecticut, but if